Hey, what's up guys? Mysterious here, and today we're gonna cover Aery versus First Strike on VIKTOR. What's better and why? So first of all, we're gonna look at the actual differences between an Aery and a First Strike rune page. So what we see on First Strike is that we get Boots, Biscuits, Cosmic, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence. And with Aery we get Aery, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, Scorch, uh, into Biscuits, and Time Warp. So the actual differences lie between the boots, of course the main rune, the Cosmic Insight, and that's about it. So what we see is that Aery gives more damage, but the First Strike gives a bit more gold. And that's basically the difference that we're going to talk about in this video. So to actually understand what the difference is between Aery and First Strike, I'm going to draw it out for you here. So what's going to happen with when we take Aery and what's going to happen when we take First Strike? So when we take First Strike, we get a bit more damage and we make sure that our laning is stronger. So what will happen when we have a stronger lane? That means that we have a bigger lead on the opponent. And the opponent will be pressured more because that's what VIKTOR is all about, especially when taking Aery. So the enemy opponent will have lower economy. Compare that to when we take First Strike. And when we take First Strike, we have less damage in the early game. We have less trading potential, so the enemy's economy will be a bit higher. But this also resonates with us. When we take First Strike, our economy will also be higher. And this also resonates with Aery. So if we take Aery, our economy will be a bit lower. And that's the thing that we have to understand when we take these rune pages. To understand the difference in economy and what it means in certain games. So to understand, once we understand that, we can move on to the process when we're choosing the rune. So first of all, we got to understand why it's important to take the right setup on VIKTOR. It's important because we want to be ahead on VIKTOR. And there's two ways that we can ahead. We can be ahead by dominating the lane opponent, for example with Aery, and we can be ahead by playing it smart, playing it efficient, and reaching our power spikes sooner than the enemies do. In this case, it's easier to do that with First Strike. So I would say we default to First Strike because of the current meta. The current meta is all about power spikes and heavy skirmishing around 10 to 20 minutes around objectives. Those really decide the game. And having your power spikes as soon as possible is what wins you those skirmishes. So First Strike would be defaultable here and would logically be the best. Um, there's also always still room for improvement with Aery because Aery is really strong in certain matchups. And my thought process on taking a rune page right now is this. So first of all, I'm gonna take a look at the lane. Is it gonna play out fast or slow? A fast lane can be Orianna, can be Silas, and stuff like that. I would recommend Aery. And if it's a slow lane, for example, quite extreme, but we get a Garen mid or a Yone mid in a way as well. We want to hit our power spikes sooner, and we can't really like bully them. So I would say we take First Strike there. So the second thing I think about is what's my job in the lane? So is it my job to actually dominate this lane, or is it my job to be somewhat even and just do my part in the game? So a good example of this is Kiana. We really want to dominate the Kiana, make sure she doesn't hit her power spike, so Aery is the way. Even Yone again, because we can't really dominate him due to the Doran shield, what we're gonna cover after this. And hence is why First Strike is good, because we will reach our spike sooner. So, as I already mentioned, are there any key things I have to look out for? Doran Shield with Second Wind. Um, After the durability patch, I've tried it out, and I have really big struggles dominating players that run Doran Shield plus Second Wind. And most of the time they also take TP with that. And once that's the case, we just really struggle. We can't deal enough damage with the Aery to actually dominate them in a lane. So I really recommend going first strike in those games because we hit our spikes sooner than they do, and then we'll still be more useful. So we win through them by not dominating them, but by playing smarter and on higher economy. And a last thing that is very good to note is, are early boots absolutely necessary? So in the example that I give with Orianna, where spacing is super important, I would recommend going the Aery, because also early boots matter in if you're able to dodge Ori skill shots, outspace her, outtrade her, and this will lead to more CS, of course. So, as I said, I would default to first strike, and if any of these boxes, right, is the lane going to play out fast? Is my job to win? All right, then I would definitely consider for Aery. And is early boots necessary? Then I would also consider Aery. In the other cases, I would recommend going first strike. All right, so moving on to the final section of this video, the Q&A. I asked in the MLA if they had any questions about the topic Aery versus first strike. So the first question, how should one's preference or thought process change from gold to D2? So the thought process that I just discussed was for the higher ranks, so at least diamond and above, maybe even high plat as well. But if we go to gold, I would recommend going Aery a bit more, because in gold it's more about the lane and snowballing those advantages that you can acquire there. So in gold, I would recommend Aery more. Then the second question is from Van. C-Pot versus D-Ring start combined with the runes. So if we go Aery, I would 9 out of 10 times recommend going C-Pot, because it's all about playing fast and playing the lane to dominate. But while we go for first strike, D-Ring is currently 9 out of 10 times the right choice. But you also can run C-Pot with, for example, Time Rock Tonic if you're against a matchup where you think there is going to be heavy traded, but you want to be on high econ anyway. That would be the only exception to go C-Pot with the first strike rune. Definitely both is viable. And that would be it for this video. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments or send me a DM and we'll discuss it. Thanks for watching.